Okay. First of all, thank you everybody for being here. Before we introduce ourselves and all that, I'm gonna run down what the panel is about and kind of how it's gonna work. So I, the host, am actually gonna be a part of the debate. My teammates are gonna be Tuna and Benny, and then we got Myopic, Queen Alexa, and Haru on the other side. We're gonna be talking about the word retarded. Uh, I think that it's a super based word. It's one of the only ones that we have that's still fun to use. And thank the God that is Keffels for using it so much to confuse liberals as to whether or not it's okay anymore. We have this small window of opportunity to fight for our right to use it, and that's why we have this panel here. If things get a little bit crazy, as they usually do on some people's panel, I'm not going to say any names. I'm just going to point towards Queen Alexa. Uh, our muterator, Key of Weird, will mute
You
people,
were pointing towards Tuna.
pointing past Tuna.
I
Key of
see.
Weird hates the toxicity of this space. He hates it when people don't shut the fuck up and let other people talk. I've watched him rage about it a lot. He's the perfect person to make us shut the fuck up. So that's his role here. And there's a twist to this panel. At the end of it, one of the people that do not agree with my side will be deemed the winner by Key of Weird. And that person I will openly challenge to a debate on the subject later on next week when they have time to do so. That's right, Tuna. You can't be the bad side's winner because you're on the right side of
Well, so there's
history
gonna be a
here.
part 2 debate to this, and I'm gonna be debating Eldrazi.
Yeah,
Typical.
there's that's how these will run. Whoever's not with me, the best loser, obviously, will get to
The outrage. The outrage is that you are default winner of the retards. You by default become king retard. How does that work?
It's my show.
True.
I
Yeah.
just want to point out. There's already infighting amongst the retard supporters. So what does that have to say about their side?
Listen, if you can't say that sentence without that word, then I think you might be on the wrong side of this panel.
It's too well.
Yeah, I denounced my
Before we get
teammate.
into it, let's have everybody introduce themselves and give their positions. We're going to start with Benny, and then we'll go to Rain, and then all the way down. Benny.
Hi, my name's Benny. I'm a guy. I've been on Mr. Girl Stream a couple of times, and I support the use of the word retard. That's it.
Thank you very much, Benny. We're going to go to Haru. Haru, what is your bad position on this?
Hi, I'm Haru of the Florin system. I personally don't think that we should be using the word retard in a normal context. I will be using it throughout this panel because I don't like being the only one saying the R word when we're talking about like whether or not this word is okay to be used. But in general, I don't think that we've reclaimed it. I don't think that it's a good word to use. I think that it breaks all of the rules that we've kind of agreed upon collectively are okay when it comes to like reclamation. It's not even been reclaimed by the neurodivergent. Um, it's always going to be used disproportionately against neurodivergent people that we don't like. I think that in general, this just goes to speak to a sort of ableism that exists in society where we're less willing to care about the issues of neurodivergent people than any other group. The entire queer community has like a ton of words that you're not allowed to say because they're offensive to LGBT people. Black people have a word that you're not allowed to say because it's offensive to them. Jewish people have words that you're not allowed to say because it's offensive to them, but we'll never ever apply that same standard to those who have developmental disabilities such as autism or retardation because we just don't care about them as much. I think that if you think that it's okay to use the word retard, but it's not okay to use all of those other words, it shows that you are maybe not a hypocrite. You just don't actually care about the plight of the those who've been marginalized because they suffer from some kind of learning disability or developmental disability, and you're willing to like shit on those people very uniquely in society, but you would shit on no other group that suffers similar forms of marginalization and disenfranchisement. That's it.
All right, thank you very much, Haru. Really interesting take that you're willing to use the word that you're against. Let's see if you hold that when you come back next week when we have a panel on the N-word. Myopic Times. You're up next.
I am the Myopic Times, and like Benny, I am a guy, and I argue with people on the internet. For this debate, my contention with the use of the word is that it is both inaccurate and lazy. And I think I'll get into plenty of detail once this gets going.
Okay, thank you very much. Tuna Chip, let's hear your perspective on the situation.
Hey, so my perspective is basically that the word retard has been used, needs to be used, continues to be used, and has never actually stopped being used by anybody. The only thing that anybody has ever done is changed what they are actually using phonetically to represent what the word retard means for them. The intent behind the word retard has always been to say the person I'm referring to has a less legitimate opinion, is a less legitimate thinker, is a less legitimate person, and it is based on a lack of acuity, whether that is mental or lazy or whatever, and that everybody has actually just found a more retarded way of saying retarded, whether or not that's smooth-brained, whether or not that's knuckle-dragger, whether or not that's something along saying that the person is a liberal or that they are a cuck. It has always been that somebody's just trying to find their own special way where the quote-unquote retards don't know that you're calling them retarded.
Thank you very much, Tuna Chip. And last but certainly the least, no, I'm just kidding, not least, Queen Alexa.
Yeah, you already know who I am. The R word has objectively affected more people in the last 30 years than the N word has. The R word is also more dangerous in society today and harms more people today than the N word has in over 3 decades. This is just objectively true. And the R word is continually used to harm people who are disenfranchised and stuff like that. So if you use the R word, I think you're equally as bad as the white people who own black people on plantations.
Wow. Did you have any more to add to that? We have plenty of
No.
time for this explanation. Okay. With that, we're just gonna hash this out. We're gonna figure out what's right or wrong here. Just
can I
out
say
of
something?
curiosity, though. Yeah, I was gonna say, Benny, do you have any comments on that last take?
Well, honestly, I don't know if I'm supposed to take what that person said seriously. I'm sorry, what was your name?
Queen Alexa, you can engage with what I said, or you can go, it's a meme. So we can engage, or you can go, it's a meme and fuck off. So which one
Did
we're
you
gonna do?
really mean what you said?
Yeah, I meant exactly what I said. So you want to engage with it?
Why would you say that?
Sure.
Who is a different disenfranchised group of people that have been more harmed by retard than
So
the N-word?
in the past 30 years, we can actively see that black people have lived better lives in today's America and society in general, right? There are still problems that black people face, but objectively things are better. But if we look at like mental health problems and the issues that people with mental disabilities have, it's not getting better. It's even gotten worse in some facets. So I think using words that are ableist to put people down who have these disabilities is actively more harmful today than the N-word is right now.
There's two problems with what you just said. One, I don't know whether or not what you just said about mental health problems not being better. I don't know if that's true. And two, you've already come to the conclusion that when people say retard, that they're referring to people who have serious actual mental health problems and disabilities. The vast majority of people, when they say retard, they're talking about people who have done or said something stupid.
Yeah, okay, so let's put it this way, right? So if someone does something that's like an action, right, and their action is perceived as dumb or as they would put it, the R word, right? What if that person then has like fucking schizophrenia or Down syndrome, stuff like that? Then you're actively being ableist, which is a problem within today's society. Wouldn't you agree that ableism is a problem when you're making fun of people who have disabilities?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that the vast majority of people don't do that.
How do we know that though? How do we know that people aren't using that to just be a virtue signal for something else?
How do you know that people are doing that?
Because we can actively see people use these kinds of things. The N word was made against black people to put them down, same as the R word's used to put people with disabilities down.
Yeah, but you keep on trying to draw in it like an equivalency between the N word and the R word. And I'm telling you that the way that the R word is used is not the same way that the N word is used.
No,
Alexa,
You just think that
they
you
can't
just think that it's
functionally
used
the
that
same.
way
They can't
because
functionally
you
be the
consider
same,
them both slurs.
because both have historical precedent and both can be used in ways to put people down for things that they can't help.
Alexa, this is the problem, though. There's nothing actually bad about being black, but there is something objectively bad
Well, that
for
can
the
be argued
people
later.
themselves who have a disability. There's something objectively bad about having a retarded situation when you have a level of intelligence that you could have had,
Why can't
but
you
you
just
are
say it's
limited.
bad?
Hey, let me finish my sentence, you fucking freak. When you have a level that you could have had, and because you have less, you have a condition where you are in a to call someone retarded is to
Right.
say
So let's
wait,
well,
is to
fuck, finish your fucking
compare the situation of someone who is not retarded to a
Mhm.
person that is. That's the thing that's offensive about it. I think we
So
all
should
know
go,
that.
Should we go to a kid in like this fucking like the special needs class, special ed, right? And this kid's fucking Down syndrome, right? And we go, hey, little Johnny, and I'm gonna use the word, okay, I'm sorry for using it, but you go, little Johnny, go, hey, you're retarded, okay? You know that you're retarded. That could affect the child in a negative aspect.
You're
So
just creating a scenario that doesn't exist. Nobody does that. Nobody fucking does that.
How do we know? There is plenty of cases where people do that. People
There's
do that
no
all the
cases where
time.
people do
Yes,
that. I don't know.
there
You keep on
absolutely
saying
is.
that.
You don't think that
No,
kids
no.
don't go to school and bully other kids for their fucking disabilities? Are you fucking insane?
You know, I'll bite the bullet.
Yeah,
I'll go ahead and say, I don't
actually,
think that
yeah,
you should say, hey,
yeah.
little Johnny, come here. You're retarded. I don't think that we
shouldn't
should
say
put
that.
kids
I'm
down.
glad we agree.
I don't think that we
shouldn't say
should
the
put-
word.
I don't
We've
think
done it.
that-
We did it in the debate.
I don't
won
think
over.
that we should
Alexa,
ask children to
retarded
approach
fucking
us
argument.
so that we can say anything to them that's rude. I think that saying retarded is rude. I think it's okay to be rude. We use it on our friends. Do you know why we don't call somebody? You know why you're never at a bar and call your friend retarded and have somebody turn around and go, hey, don't say that. I'm retarded. Because we don't hang out with people that have mental impairments so severe that would apply to them. Nobody is calling mentally challenged people retarded. Nobody is hanging out with people that would qualify for this.
No, fuck off with this. Yes, absolutely, people are being called retarded for being mentally challenged. There's so many times where I've gotten called that throughout my life because I struggle to like understand things like sarcasm, and that's like that's a part of being autistic. There's so many different times where I've been called retarded just because I've like just because of something that's basically linked to me having autism. So absolutely, when the word retard is being used, it's going to disproportionately, thank you, Starlight Dazzle, it's going to be disproportionately weaponized against people who have autism or some kind of learning or
Why do you need
developmental
protection from that?
disability.
Why do you need protection from that? Because I could call somebody a boomer for not being able to use their phone. So what? Die in a ditch.
Okay, wait. Why do black people need protection from being referred to as words that refer to like a specific immutable trait of theirs?
Because there's
Or
a significant
Jewish people, for that
because
matter.
there's a significant percentage of towns in America that if it's nighttime and you're a black person alone, you'll be found hanging from the rafters.
That hasn't happened since 2010. Get the actual fuck out of here. The last sundown town was in 2010 in Alabama. Fuck off with
Okay,
that.
2010.
We're in
When's the last time? Hey, whoa. Where are the
Re-update.
sundown
Let's
towns for
update here.
retards? Where's the double-digit sundown town? Right? Oh my God,
Where is it?
here
Let's
comes
point it out.
here
Where's
comes
the
little
sundown town?
Jimmy.
Show
He
me
can't
the
eat
sundown
soup
town.
without
Fuck off with that
assistance.
too.
Let's
Show
hang
me
him
the
from a
sundown town
tree.
right now in
Keep
2023.
my-
Okay,
Show me
all
the
right,
sundown
okay,
town
all
in
right,
2023.
okay,
I'm
all
late.
right, okay, all
Show me
right,
the
shut
sundown
up.
town right now. Show
Use
it.
the mute button. Actually use it.
There you go.
Thank you, moderator.
Okay, I just want to say, there are times where my father nearly beat me to death just for being autistic because I had a developmental disability as a child. So,
My
do you
dad did it
think
just for
there's
fun.
No do you think that there are no hate crimes being targeted at people with developmental disabilities?
No, not on the basis of them
You
having a
think that we're not the
developmental
victim of
disability.
hate crimes?
All right, hold on a second. I just looked
Yeah,
this up.
no. We absolutely get targeted for having a developmental disability by hate
Targeted?
crimes. Fuck off.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would love to. Hey, I'm telling you right now, I'd love to see exactly what you mean. If you mean that somebody is an individual who is retarded, or another form, because let me be clear. Also, this is the real problem with the term retarded when we're talking about comparing it to all forms of different disability. There are some forms of mental disability that the word retarded is not actually referent towards. I would say autism really stretches it, right? Because most of the people that we're talking about that are autistic, including you, the situations of struggle that they have are nothing compared to the people that we're really talking about when we use that word accurately. Now, moving past that, what we're going to talk about is, are people being...
I disagree with that point.
Okay, if you're being targeted, are you... Hey, whoa. Are you being targeted for being retarded, or are you being targeted for being a weeaboo? Half the time, it's more so the latter.
It's
what
for being
have
a
you been
weeaboo.
beat up for?
It's for being a weeaboo. It is.
I get targeted again. I get targeted by that word just for not understanding sarcasm.
Yeah, that's just because people. That's just because people think that you're an idiot, right? You're trying to put yourself in this class that needs to be protected.
Okay, but I'm still being targeted with that slur.
You're not being targeted because of it, though. No. Listen, most people that are calling you retarded when you are doing something, when you are failing to meet a social expectation due to being autistic, don't actually even really understand or maybe even believe in autism.
So we're gonna.
A lot of them are young people that just don't know what that shit is.
They see me as retarded is the point.
They see you as an idiot, and then they use the word retarded, which to them only has the significance of being idiot. They don't think when they're saying the word retarded, you are a person who has a immutable mental in advantage. And because of that, I am going to declare you this. When somebody calls someone the hard R N-word in the middle of a fucking, and I'm going to go ahead and say it, Alexa, it doesn't even need to be a sundown town. It doesn't even need to be a lynching. It can just be the gravel dragging behind the fucking truck. It can just be the fucking brutal beatings at the fucking playground.
Over 20 years on average. Sometimes
you think I've beaten a black kid up before?
No.
How about that?
I want to hear it from you.
I'm the one who did it,
As another white
motherfucker.
person from the South, we shouldn't be speaking on this, but we're going to now because we're both white. We understand black issues. All right, so moving on from that. So Tuna, you keep bringing up these things of like random things that happen like 30, 40 years ago. I don't give a fuck about that, right? Those people are mostly fucking dead. They don't matter. We're talking about the right now, right? Right now, people who have like autism or ADHD or stuff like that are being labeled as retarded, right? For things that they cannot help. So should we just now go around society and go, well, sorry, you didn't meet this like social cue and stuff like that meet society's barriers. Now you die, right? Should we just do that? Go to Walmart and go, you look like a meth addict. Let me load my gun.
No, I never said that we're supposed to be executing people. There's a big difference between fucking saying that people should be a little bit more responsible about understanding the context under which that word is being used and a little bit more honest instead of comparing it, for instance, to the genocide of black people and Jewish people throughout history for a fucking stupid little argument.
You brought that up. That's your fault. You brought that up.
No, you're the one that brought the black comparison
you
in.
Get to conflate this.
You are.
That up. You brought the sundown towns. You brought the sundown town.
You're the one. No. You're the one who brought up race first. By the way. And then you're the one who brought up race first. And then Tuna responded to that by saying that
I said that the word retard is objectively more harmful than the N-word.
Okay, so then you brought up race first. What are you talking about?
Yes. Okay, you can say it's about race. I'm just saying the general functionality of this word.
Whoa! Stop racifying the N-word. Whoa! Why is everybody got to bring race into it when we were talking about the N-word?
Well, can I ask a question to Haru and Alexa?
What?
Are you saying that it's not okay to call people stupid at all?
I'm saying I would say that like you need to be careful on who you're saying stupid to and how you're using the functionality of words, right?
Okay,
There's a way we frame words that matter.
Okay. Now, Haru, you say that you're autistic.
When you're targeting someone for immutable traits that they possess, like an inability to engage in certain social situations effectively, struggling to moderate their voice, to modulate their voice, struggling to
okay, I understand.
Struggling to meet various social cues, and you're calling them stupid. Yeah, you are engaging in a lot of ableism there.
Okay, I understand. But it sounds like to me, essentially what you're saying is that you have some sort of mental deficiency and that people can't call you out for having that mental deficiency.
Should I be
Right.
able to call out someone for being a black guy? Should I be able to just like walk up and go,
The
"Hey,
difference,
black
the
people,
difference, the
let's
difference,
talk
with,
about you being black. Let's talk about this warrior gene you got
the
going
difference,
on."
the
Like,
difference between that and what I'm saying is that, and maybe you're a racist, maybe you're a groiper, I don't know.
well, I am,
So
but that's
Okay,
that's
okay, shout out to
So
you,
wait,
shout out to
what
you,
it-
shout out. Hold
wait,
on, hold on. Wait, no,
wait,
let me.
what
Can I
exactly
answer that
about
question?
not being able to
Can I answer Alexa's question? Can I answer Alexa's question? The
Yes,
difference
you can.
is the vast majority of people don't consider being black to be a bad thing, and almost everybody considers being or doing stupid things to be a bad thing. So
yes, but at the same on the counterflip though, like it wasn't even that long ago when people did. There's still a large portion of America that thinks that being black is like horrible thing, and they're talking about that warrior gene you got going on there, right?
okay,
like-
that's fine. If that's what they think, then they can call me the N-word. And I can understand why they would.
So
But
I
for
can
me,
call you the N-word right now. I
are
can
you
right now
racist?
call you the
Are you
N-word.
racist?
Yes.
Then do what you want. I'm like, what am I gonna scream? Am I gonna jump through the computer? I'm gonna like, no, do what you want if that's what you want to do. I'm not gonna
You
run
might
crying
need
and screaming.
Drazi's permission for that one.
I just
Yeah,
want to
you
say,
probably
God
should've.
damn, Benny is a fucking beast, man. He said, I don't give a fuck. Do what you feel like you got to do, retard.
I mean, I'm glad that I now
Okay,
know I can
I
just
wanna
walk up to a
say-
Down syndrome kid who's fucking in a wheelchair and go, "Hey, little retard, you little fucking retard," and just like talk to little Jimmy who's in a fucking wheelchair, paraplegic looking fuck. I'll
Nobody
do that,
does that.
now.
Nobody does that.
Nobody does that.
Okay, half the shit I have gotten called a retard for just having trouble actually speaking. It doesn't. It's none of people's fucking business. It's not.
Right.
It's not their thing to comment on. It's a thing that like a lot of us have a struggle with, and it's not negatively impacting them. It's just a thing that they want to use, that they want to like weaponize to fucking berate us.
That's. They're just
So-
making fun of you. That's
What-
all that's happening.
Yeah.
They're
Doesn't
just
even
making
hurt
fun
them.
of you.
When
Well,
you
no,
call
that's why
somebody
they're doing
Making
it,
fun
retarded,
of
though.
people is not that
It
bad.
doesn't need to be to counter a justice. Some
They're
people just
making
want to make fun of you.
They're making fun of people based on immutable characteristics. What the fuck
Yes.
is so hard to understand?
They're
about
making fun
that?
of
Like, are
people
you
for an
They don't
immutable
like you.
characteristic
Bad
They
that
don't
faith?
like
people
you. They
think
want
is
to
a
make fun of you.
bad
They think it's
characteristic.
funny. They think it's
keep
funny.
excluding that part? Why do you keep excluding that?
Because
part?
people think it's a bad characteristic and they think that you can do something about it. That's the reason why. Now, if
How
you
do
want to
people
make,
know that? Is everyone
and
just a doctor?
You can't. Is the
Is everyone a
problem?
doctor on
you
the
can't
phone?
do anything about being dumb or not being able to speak well or not being
Okay,
very
someone-
socially adept.
Okay, motherfucker. What the fuck do you think I just said? What the fuck do you think I just talked about?
No,
Do
well,
you think-
no, it's
do you
not
think
that.
I talked about being dumb? Do you think I talked about being dumb?
And
Or
I
do you think
and then I
talked
also
about
said
being
I
unable
said
to modulate your voice.
I said being dumb, not being able to speak well, and not being socially adept. You can't do anything about those things.
There is
Sometimes
voice
you
training.
can't. Depending
There
on what
is
you do,
voice
you
training.
can
There
do
is
not do that.
ADA therapy.
There are programs. There are programs that exist. Not all people can actually afford to get into those. Some people also need a diagnosis.
You have the internet.
Diagnosis to be able to get. Some people also need a diagnosis to get into those kinds of programs that help them work on these issues that cost them hundreds of dollars that isn't actually covered by insurance.
You have the internet.
So no, these are the
Benny, are you a nuclear physicist?
No, I'm
the
not a nuclear
internet?
physicist.
Why not? You have the internet.
I don't want to be a nuclear
Yeah.
physicist. No, it's because I don't want to be a nuclear physicist.
so you think
if I
you could
wanted to be a
become
nuclear
one?
physicist, yeah, probably, yeah, sure.
You think you could become a nuclear physicist with the internet?
I couldn't become a nuclear physicist, but I could gain a nuclear physicist knowledge.
that sounds about
fair
as hard
enough.
as learning social cues. My
Yeah,
main
so
point
people
here is
can't
that
read social cues because of actual disabilities, though. Like there are people who literally functionally cannot learn social cues. So we're saying you need to be like us, even though you may not quite literally be able to do that. You might not be possibly able to be able to learn social cues. There are plenty of people in this world who are fucking autistic, low functioning autistic as fuck. I know I ban them from my server all the time, who literally cannot understand social
Well, that's a
cues.
case of oppression right there.
that was kind of my point. We
Absolutely.
exclude
I like
people.
oppressing people because fuck them, but that's regardless. So I'll
We
just go
do
to this.
exclude people that have mental handicaps that are so severe that they cannot function with everybody else on a like baseline social level. That's why my example at the bar, that's not going to happen. You're not going to call your friend retarded and have somebody turn and say, "Hey, I'm retarded." That offends me. We do not we have two different social spheres in this world. One of people that are mentally
We'll be fine.
sufficient to
We'll
interact
be fine.
smoothly
Who draws these lines? Because we keep drawing these lines, and we've
To
done
be
this
clear,
with
They're
to be
naturally
clear,
drawn.
No,
that's
I'm not done.
how-
I'm
that's
not
how
done.
the
I'm
black
not done.
person who
I'm not
just got
done.
called the
I'm not
N-word
fucking
is
done.
gonna
I
work
am
out.
not fucking done.
Okay,
You
Queen,
fucking
you have the
shit.
floor.
I'm not fucking done. Okay, we draw these lines arbitrarily, right? We've done this with race. We've done this with gender. We've done this with sex. Now we're doing it with this. What?
It's not
where's the
arbitrary.
line fucking drawn?
Not arbitrary at all.
The line is
It's
drawn where
absolutely
people.
arbitrary. Like 50 years ago, we were fucking like, I don't know about these gays getting married and these transgenders are fucking trying to steal the children, and those blacks and all, they're coming over and they're taking our fucking jobs.
What line are you talking
just-
about? No,
okay,
no, no,
okay.
no, 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 no. What line are you talking about? What line is being drawn arbitrarily?
Arbitrary lines drawn about social contracts that people have to make to be able to deal or be in society normally, right? And we draw these lines arbitrarily all the time.
You
There's
fucked
some
up.
that are
Who's
drawn
gonna get
arbitrarily.
this?
That's fine to recognize, but there are others that aren't. This is the main problem, right? Most of the quote unquote oppression that is happening towards the people that are out in the social sphere who could be labeled and abused via the word retarded. These people are not in the social sphere, not by some kind of arbitrary measurement, but by the fact that they actually functionally can exist in those environments. Because those environments have factors inside of them that make it so that they can't be there. Whether or not that's the loud noises, it's the public situation itself, it's the driving in order to get there, whether or not it's the idea that you can even be released from a private holding because you might actually have some form of acuity that brings you towards like spouts of violence. There is a objective difference between a person who has a severe mental disability and a person who doesn't, in a much more hardline way than somebody who is gay and straight, somebody who is black and white, in terms of the actual issue of being in that space. Before, when we limited black people from using water fountains, it wasn't because their lips left a fucking residue. It's because we didn't want people to share the same facilities. That was a socially mediated condition. The reason that some people aren't allowed in public is because it is not an environment where two types of people can exist without the other one's needs being put under the other, right? So currently, although you could call it arbitrary, the majority wins out. We're not just
The
making
majority will win
a
out,
silent
but the
space.
majority always leads to problems, right? We can look at history, especially American history, and it never ends well. We will be on the right side of history. You will not. We will be sitting here saying things that will happen in 50, 60 years when they go, fuck, that was really fucked up what we did here to people who have disabilities. And you're going to sit there going, fuck, I was a horrible person for thinking that someone with autism shouldn't be in society. It's super fucked up. And we've done this time.
You there?
It's a retarded connection.
Okay,
Oh.
so when you were saying earlier, I don't know, like dude right next to like Elder Drowsy with the red shirt.
Mario, you better not be about to defend the
I'm just gonna tell you right
Shut
now,
the fuck
Yamato.
up, shut the-
You if you don't know Benny's name, you can just say the only other black guy on the panel. You're not gonna hurt his feelings. Benny's tough as
It's
nails.
true.
Okay, yeah, Benny, whatever. Okay, so when you were talking about like learning how to speak well, you do know that there are people with like impairments to where they cannot speak and like have speech impediments, right?
Here's the problem. When we all did our introductions, I didn't realize that I was supposed to be giving my position. My position is, if you clearly and visibly have some sort of like mental deficiency or intellectual disability, you shouldn't be calling that person retarded.
Yes.
People who seem like they are generally well socially adjusted and are intelligent, just like the rest of us, just like everybody on this panel. I don't care if you say that you're autistic. To me, you all seem like you're perfectly fine and normal people. If someone calls you retarded, suck it up. Like, so if you're talking about somebody who has a speech impediment, no, I wouldn't call that person retarded.
But they do. But most people do call people with speech
Yeah,
impediments.
that's the problem.
and mute.
No, I don't see that. And if somebody does, then I wouldn't defend that.
Well,
Whoa. You think most people use the R
You're
slur?
not the victim of it because you're not.
I
the
don't see.
victim of it.
I don't
Alright,
see.
okay.
I don't even see them
Whoa,
say
whoa,
it to
whoa,
other
whoa,
people.
Can we just
Wait,
wait? We're running right
Yeah,
past
because
that.
you
You think
can
most
ignore
people
it.
call people retarded? You think
Mhm.
most people go out of their way to call people with speech
Absolutely.
impediments
Absolutely.
retarded?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Wait,
Yeah,
do you
I've
go,
seen it.
listen, do you go the fuck
Most
outside?
people, over
Tuna Chip,
50%.
you don't go the fuck outside. You really must not go the fuck outside.
How
You don't
old?
obviously realize
Does a
how-
person stop existing
Oh,
after 35 to
Holy
you?
fuck, Jesus Christ. Dude,
for-
you are the-
Here's a
Yeah,
55-year-old
yeah.
woman at
Oh,
Denny's.
God.
Okay, hold on.
Can that
hold on.
retard
You're-
stop?
He doesn't go
Tuna.
outside. He doesn't know
Skittering
what
in the
human,
back.
what regular
Okay.
human speech is, or
Okay, so
like
Tuna.
how to talk to regular human beings.
Yeah,
He
all right,
Polite
doesn't
come on,
do
society
that shit outside. He
doesn't
doesn't
say
go outside.
it doesn't say
Okay.
retard. They just
Okay,
don't do
Tuna,
it.
Tuna, you're living in a bubble, right? And especially Benny as well. You're both living in this bubble going, I don't experience this. It's not there. You're doing the whole, I put my hands over my eyes. I don't see it. Now I'm putting it over my ears. I'm not hearing it, right? Like, this is not how
I just want to
society
say
works.
you're like unironically that caricature of the white person who says, "Oh, I've never actually seen like discrimination against black people.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
I'm just
like,
gonna completely ignore all the
Yeah.
stories of black
I le-
people talking about
okay.
how they're discriminated
Haru?
against all these other groups."
Doesn't go
Haru,
outside.
shut your fucking furry mouth. I actually went to an
doesn't go-
institution.
He
I went to an
doesn't go
institution
outside.
because of my mental issues.
No,
You want me to
you don't
fucking
go
pretend that
outside.
I don't
You should
realize
go
that they're
back there. You
Oh
should
my
head back.
God.
With these kinds of things, you should be
fucking
leaving
I
life
have
out.
to, I
dude.
have to, I
Shut
have
the
to, I
fuck
have to.
up. Shut the fuck up.
And okay, here's the thing though.
I
That's
have
not why I
to,
brought it
I
up.
have
I'm trying
to.
to fucking big dick it through here with my low IQ or something. That's not the point. What I'm trying to say is I know the situations where people get abused. People do lose their right to person from this. I have friends that are schizophrenic who have
Wait, so
some
you
have
said-
killed
no, no, no,
themselves,
wait,
some have
wait,
been.
wait, 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 wait,
Can I
are you
finish my
saying that these
fucking
things-
sentence,
wait, wait,
Yamato?
are you
Can I
stupid? Are
finish
you
the
stupid
fucking
fuck?
Let
Are you
him
really
finish.
stupid? Are you
Let
really
him
stupid? No, no, no,
finish.
no,
Let
no,
him
no, 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 this
finish.
fucking-
Let
this
him
fucking idiot is
finish.
not gonna
Let
just-
him finish. Let him finish. Let him finish.
Thank you. Okay. The whole point is that there are real situations where people get their rights removed. That's not what we're talking about here. Everybody here thinks, I'm assuming, except for maybe Alexa, that anybody that has an immutable trait, hey, I'm just making a jab at you, Alexa. You know that it's just a little, because I know that your positions are mutable, so I'm allowed to make a joke about them. So everybody here thinks that immutable features should not restrict a person's access to different spheres. I don't want to so when you say that we're on the wrong side of history or we're trying to say this or that, I don't think anybody here says, you know what? If you can't obey the social conditions of neurotypicality, no Hooters for you. I think we're basically just saying that when people use the word retarded, they're not actually using it towards those people due to a belief that those people are in that category.
Okay.
They're
Let's talk about
using it towards
normalization.
people outside of that group, to compare them to people in that category. And that, sure, that's insensitive, but it doesn't create the same type of harm as the things that you're comparing it to.
Okay.
And
Normalization
Hey,
is-
wait, have a right to do it.
I want to say something.
Rambling.
I want to say something. in
I
response to this.
God
Do you
fucking
think-
damn it.
Do you think that this justification? Shut the fuck up, Alexa. You've been saying so much this entire panel.
I
Let
fucking
me
know
have a
because
moment.
I'm the
Do
only
you
one.
think?
that's
Do you think
sensible.
that you're doing? Do you
Alexa's
think that
points
you're
per
doing,
word
do you think that you're
ratio is
doing-
so much higher than yours,
Do you
Haru.
think-
You have no
Okay,
fucking
Do
position to
you
say.
think? Do you think that perhaps when you're saying this, you're actually giving cover to all the people who use that in bad faith, who actually use that as a term of discrimination, who actually use that knowing the person is autistic or has some kind of developmental disability and is actually trying to just get away with it? You do realize that you're giving cover to all of these people, that you're giving such a charitable explanation to these people, right?
You know what you do when a person is abusing somebody? You call it abuse. You don't compare it to those situations that are kind of similar
Well, yeah,
to
but
it
you
and
give
say,
it- you give it
whoa.
cover is the problem. You give it cover. You make it easier for them to do that. You make it easier for them to get away with
If
it.
they do it,
Because they can just say,
if
they
they
can
do
just
it,
use your same
you
defense.
hit them in the head with a hammer, and then they're retarded.
Okay, let's talk about normalization. Normalization, though, of things, right? Like
That
Haru's-
doesn't fix
like,
the problem.
hold on. Let's
Oh,
talk
yes,
real
it does.
quick. It's like when Haru's talked about abuse, right? You don't want to normalize abuse and make abuse like minimize like the effectiveness of abuse, right? Same with saying
You want to
like,
maximize
slurs.
the effectiveness of abuse.
I'm
Yes.
gonna abuse you in a minute.
Yes, Alexa.
With I'm gonna abuse you in a moment. All right. So like when we talk about the R word, we don't want to normalize the possible effects that it could have in society. We usually try to limit the negative effects things have in society by the most, right? And this is what happens. So as a person, so I'm a Nazi, right? And I think that like things like fascism and the ethno states are good because I want to limit the amount of harm that's done within society, from the degeneracy and the others and stuff like that. So I'm kind of saying here that I want to, limit the amount of people who can hurt other people with the R word. And this falls along with my perfect little ethno state that doesn't allow people of a different skin color than me.
You want to show what that skin color is really quick? Too cowardice to use a camera.
Oh, I'm very white. So, like very, very white, like extremely white. Like my ancestry is British and Scottish, so I'm extremely white.
Like,
I think
I
I'm starting
don't,
to.
I don't believe you. You're not using the camera because you're secretly black. You're trying to pretend to be white so you can appropriate all the white slurs.
all right, after
I'm on to you, Alexa.
Haru, we're gonna let Benny talk. People
I
been
think
throwing
I'm
a lot of racial shit, and I think he needs to comment, be able to
I
comment.
think
on it.
True.
I think I'm starting to realize that Haru and Alexa are cringe progressives.
Yes.
Like
What do you mean progressive? I progressively want to like make America white again. Like that's one thing I would say, I guess.
good me. It's really this simple. I don't think that people who actually have mental disabilities should be called retarded. People who don't actually have mental disabilities, I think it's fine for me to call them retarded, because if I call them stupid, I'm really just saying the same thing. It feels like all of the arguments that you're giving are like these cope arguments where it's like, oh well, you're gonna open up the door for more people to be abused by the word. If people, like Tuna said, if people start doing that, then we'll just call them out for their abuse, and then I'll just continue
Yeah,
to
but you
ethically
propagated
use my
it.
word
You propagated
retard.
the
People
problem.
aren't doing that,
I'm not
and they don't
propagating.
get called out for abuse because no one gives a shit
I'm
about
using
ableism.
retard. I'm using retard in a specific type of way.
Yes, but
For
you're
a specific
propagating the
type of
problem
purpose.
for you to
You're
have to
saying
defend
if
later.
it happens, it already happened, and you're not doing anything about it. That's the
When
problem.
people
Wait,
use
no, that's not
retard,
true.
when people use retard against people who actually have developmental disabilities, I tell them that they shouldn't do that and that that's wrong.
There is such a
Like, good enough for you?
strong reaction from everybody around if that happens.
Developmental disability.
We
You can just
know.
tell by the eyes. Like you don't have, as far as I'm concerned, you don't have a developmental disability.
Look at those eyes.
Yes,
do.
again, we're
I've been diagnosed with
propagating
one.
things that could happen though, because we're saying I think it would be wrong if somebody who had an actual disability is called a retard. Then just saying retard is bad, and then
It's not.
neglect it and
It's
gotten
not.
rid of all of the problems.
It's not. Okay, so I'm black. I don't care if somebody says the N-word while they're singing a song. I don't care if somebody calls me the N-word. I care if somebody actually thinks that like I have less value than them. That's what I actually care about. I've had white friends call me the N-word before. It didn't matter to me.
That is what retard can be.
It's okay.
Yeah, because being stupid is actually bad.
I've been wanting to make. If people call someone else a retard, they're saying that you have less value because you are dumber intellectually. So
Yeah.
it is
Absolutely.
And that's
so
good,
as I
because
said
people actually
from
think
the
that being dumb is
beginning,
bad.
that retard is more harmful in society right now than the N-word has been in the past 30 years.
But
Do
the
you
problem
think
is,
that
the problem is that being stupid is actually bad. It's like if you call somebody a Nazi, it's like being a Nazi is bad.
Yes,
So when we
I
call
could
you a
also
Nazi
being
or a
black is
racist,
actually bad. We can
okay, then
these
make that.
same
That's what I just said
arguments
to you.
based
That's what I
on
just said. I said that to you
I
before.
guess-
If you're
I just wanna say
if you're
before we
actually
move on
racist, then
too
you should
far-
just call me the N-word if that's what you want to do. But if you're not racist, then you probably shouldn't do that. Right? If you don't think that being stupid is bad, then you probably shouldn't call anybody a retard. But everybody does, and that's why we say it.
Do you think that the
I
reason
just
why
wanna
the
say-
treatment,
wait,
which
wait,
has
wait,
gotten
wait,
better
I
for
already
people
said-
with
wait,
poor
hold
mental
on,
health,
hang on.
hasn't
Shut
gotten
up!
better?
Before we move on too far, I want to say before we move on too far, that right there is the problem. Earlier, you said that as far as you're concerned, I don't have a developmental disability. I actually said it. I said it earlier. I actually have autism. Okay. Now it's something that I've learned to cover up in conversations so that I'm capable of like functioning on a neurotypical level half the time. But again, I get clips made of me not understanding when people are being sarcastic. There are a bunch of actual problems, right? Where people, because of some way that I process the world, because of being autistic, will mock me, will call me retarded because I don't understand something that other neurotypicals have or understand. And like the problem is, you would say that it's okay for those people to call me retarded because you don't understand, you don't know when someone has a developmental disability.
No,
That's
I
the
think
problem.
I
People
my
can tell that you're black, but you can't always tell that someone's autistic.
My
You
problem
can't
is-
always tell.
My
Haru,
problem is-
I've got a big question for you, and this might actually be, and I don't mean this is
Tuna,
this is
then
not
Benny,
supposed to
then
be like a
me.
clever. This is not a clever go around. This might actually be an autism issue. Because I want to bring this up. If somebody doesn't know anything about, okay, let's say that before Benny put his thing up, none of us knew he was black, and somebody said, made some kind of joke that in a context where you know that Benny is black could be offensive and seen as racist. Something like, where's Benny? Oh, he's at the watermelon. He's buying watermelons or something. Nobody knows. Maybe he has some kind of other context where that's a meme, but nobody knows that he's black. It wouldn't be racist if they don't know. If they do know, it's almost certainly racist because a person. No, keep in mind. No. I want to finish. I want to land my point. I'm halfway through my fucking somersault.
Okay, but
and you're trying to
already
grab my
fucked up
nuts
the
like an
point, to be
angel in the
clear.
sky. No, let
Let
me
him
finish my
finish.
point. When somebody sees a clip of you and they don't know that you're autistic, they're not actually doing something immoral there. They're not doing something wrong
Okay,
when they call
the
you
people
retarded.
who made-
Let me
the people who
finish.
made the clip. The people who made the clip saw autistic in my
Where's the
in
news?
my actual channel description.
You don't
and
know
those
that.
people
I
actually
don't
got
read
away with it.
anything
Yeah,
in the tags.
There's no
Nobody
him
reads the
finish his
tags.
point.
You know who
There's
reads
no
the
reason-
tags?
Just let
Robots.
him finish his
No,
point.
That's
it's
it.
not the tags. It's not the tags. It was in my actual channel description.
Just let him
Nobody
finish
nobody
his
reads
point.
that shit. Nobody reads that
Well,
shit.
because
Here's
you're-
the
That's
point.
not true.
You are
That's not true.
assuming so
This
much.
is the thing.
You're
This is the
assuming
thing.
so much.
There you
Tuna,
go.
stay on
You
point,
aren't giving actual
please.
cover to people doing it.
Shut up.
Okay,
Shut up. Let me
enough.
finish my point. You
Enough.
fucking.
Because
Oh
you
Shut
my
can't
up.
tell.
God.
Shut
He's
up.
gonna
Oh
mute.
my
He's
God.
gonna
Shut up.
mute.
Shut up. Let me finish my fucking point. You're assuming
wrap
so
it up,
much,
baby.
and you're assuming so much pre-examined knowledge in order to call these people vindictive. And if your actual point is some percentage of people have read it, then actually make that point. Don't make the point where you're saying, I get clips and these people know. You would have to say, I've gotten 100 clips, at least 5% of those people probably know. Probably read the description of the channel.
You
That'd be a
realize
fair
the whole,
point.
this is the point of the argument I made. We're just doing it. We're just giving actual cover to these people. We're actually making it so that it's okay for you to call neurodivergent
These people exist
retarded,
as a
because
figment in your imagination.
We're saying we're making it so that it's okay because they can always have this wonderful thing, this wonderful principle of charity where we just assume that they weren't paying attention and then
Nobody in this
person is
entire
like, "You just so
channel-
retarded."
Nobody in this entire debate believes in the universal, always okay to say any word, period. Everybody here is on a conditional, situational basis.
I would allow
it so
it
that
so that
you would
TOS of
allow
fucking
it so
Twitch.
that
Basically, you would say that basically
I'm on YouTube.
these people, everyone can, like, no one actually knows when they're saying it when they're saying it on it. Blah. No one actually knows when they're saying it at an autistic person. That's the problem. Then we never actually have any defense. You would have to, like, empirically prove somehow that you would have to, like, mind read the person and know.
What do you mean,
get
though?
Inside their head and
Okay,
tell that
the only
they
person who
knew
knows
that
is
they
them.
were weaponizing. You're just saying that it's okay to
Listen,
call, like,
listen, the only person that knows is them, and the only person for whom it matters is them. Because everybody else gets to just make the choice. I don't like it when people say retarded towards people. And then they say, well, then I'm not going to associate with this person. I can just block that account. Easy as that. But the only person that it matters to, whether or not someone has done something wrong or right, is the person who has done the
You
wrong or
apply that
right
to the
thing.
N-word? You apply that
Yes.
to the N-word?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So let's say
That's
that we have
still fucked.
so let's take someone like Nick Fuentes, right? Like everyone like always said, oh yeah, this guy, just block him, ignore him, right? Don't pay attention to Nick Fuentes. And then look what happened. He was on Alex Jones. Fuck it, my dad knew who he was. He was on Fox News, stuff like that. Look how that ended up. When we start ignoring people or blocking actual issues, look how it blows up. Now the fucking third right's bigger than ever before, and I'm right at the front of it, enjoying every minute of it. So get fucked.
All right,
Nobody
Benny.
said that. Nobody said that those things should be ignored. I've already said if somebody calls somebody who has intellectual disability a retard, I would say that that's wrong.
So let's just not say the word in general, and then we skip.
No, I don't.
the whole
No,
thing.
that's horseshit. That's horseshit. That's
People-
horseshit. That's horseshit.
Can we
That's
pivot
horseshit.
to
That's
the actual
horseshit.
point of
That's
this?
horseshit. That's horseshit. That's horseshit.
So they're never actually wrong. It doesn't matter.
I don't have to
It
give them
doesn't
infinite.
matter
I don't
if
have to
you
give
would
them
call
infinite
wrong
charity.
if the
I don't
same-
have to give them
it would
infinite
never
charity. I don't have to
matter.
give
It
them
would
infinite
never
charity.
matter.
I don't
It
have to
would
give them
never-
infinite charity.
But you
I don't have.
do. But
No,
you
I don't. I don't know why you're saying
But
that about me.
you
You don't know me
do.
from a hole in the wall. Why would you say that about me? You don't know
He
that.
has continuously
Because
expressed
I just
that it's not
explained
acceptable.
it. I explained it earlier. You just didn't pay attention.
No,
Okay,
you
I'm
explained
gonna
how that
repeat this
could
whole
happen
thing.
You explained how that could happen, but you didn't explain that I actually do that.
No, I did. No, you actually just you fuck. Okay.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay,
I wanna-
this is-
Wait.
Let's let-
I
Whoa!
Let's
didn't
let
get
This is
Elder
the whole
speak.
point here.
Let's
Wait,
let
I didn't get
Elder
to make
and
the point that I
Myopic
want to
haven't
make.
spoken.
I didn't-
Okay. Sorry, Benny.
Can I make my point real
you-
quick or no?
Benny, finish up, and then Elder and Myopic.
Okay. I just want to reinforce again this whole cringe progressive thing that's going on here. It's like when I was younger, I actually knew a kid like who was autistic, who would like STEM, and he couldn't take the same classes as us and all this kind of stuff. That kid, if somebody called him retarded, I would say that's wrong. I'm sorry, but Haru, I would never consider you autistic on the level that kid was at. I don't give a fuck about your diagnosis. The same thing with
Yeah,
Rem.
because you would
Hold up,
fucking
let me
erase
finish.
that
Let me
other
finish.
people-
Let me finish.
this
Let me
is,
finish.
like,
Let me finish.
actually
Let me
Just
finish.
let
Let me
him
finish. Let me
finish.
finish.
Just
Let me
let
finish.
him
Let me
finish
finish.
his
Let me
point.
finish. Let me
Just
finish.
let
Let me
him
finish.
finish his point.
The same
Oh
thing
my
with
God.
Rem the Bat
You
Boy,
just
who
know
will go
better
on.
than doctors. You just
I-
know better than
it-
doctors.
It's a sliding scale. You decide that your level of autism is bad enough not for you to be called retard. I don't think so. The same thing
What
with
the
Rem the
fuck
Bat
do you
Boy.
know about my level of autism? What the fuck do you know about my level
We're
of
having
autism,
we're having
motherfucker?
we're
Tell me.
having
Tell
we're
me how
having
autistic I am.
we're having
Tell
a
me how
Twitch
autistic I
debate.
am.
We're having a
Tell me
Twitch
how
debate right
functional I
now.
am.
If you
The
want
kid
to,
that I'm
if you
talking
want him
about-
to tell you how autistic you are, you have to let him tell you.
me how
So
autistic
stop
I am.
talking. So you got to stop
Tell me how
talking. If you
autistic
want him
I
to
am.
answer the question about how autistic you are, you need to shut up.
All right.
The
Go.
kid that
I
I'm
think you're pretty
referring to,
autistic.
the kid that I'm referring to when I was younger, he wouldn't be able to have a debate with me like this. Not at all. It wouldn't be possible for him. So you're not autistic enough for me to not say that somebody could call
So
you
as
that.
long as
And it's the
people
same. Yeah,
You just know
yeah,
better than the
actually.
doctors. Good.
You think that I don't have problems speaking to people sometimes? You don't think that I stutter sometimes? Everybody does. Like I don't think that yours is
You
bad
just
enough.
don't know what autism is. This is actually offensive.
Did your
Autism
doctor
is when
did your doctor say you're
If you say
autistic?
so.
Retard
If you
shit
say
isn't
so.
offensive. This is like
Autism is
actually
when you-
offensive.
Bro,
This is
he's
like
saying,
actual
bro, he's making,
ableism.
he's
Okay,
not
let's
saying
let-
that.
Actual ableism.
You're not,
Okay.
you
Let's
are
let-
putting words in it. That's a whole other sentence, Haru. That's a whole other fucking sentence.
Tuna, baby, tuna, down. Elder,
It's a whole
please.
other sentence. She's lying. She's a liar.
Elder,
Okay.
elder.
All right. Thank you. I'm just gonna comment on that, and then I'm gonna make my good point here. I don't think anybody's doctor's ever said your autism is to the point to where nobody should be calling you retarded. I don't think that's ever happened. So I don't think Benny has to know better than a doctor because the doctor's never gonna say that. My main argument here is that what are slurs? Slurs are words that are targeted at a specific group of people in order to marginalize them, in order to oppress them. That's what the design of it is. Retarded first came about as a regular word that we would use to describe somebody's mental state. We have since moved away from that. Now, when we move away from a word because we deem it to be a slur, that is because the people who are affected by it have said, I don't want to be called that. That did not happen in this case. When we decided to change it, people said, it makes me uncomfortable when somebody calls somebody else retarded. This is not how slurs usually get changed. Now, generally, slurs are used against the people they are designed to hurt. If the people that and the people who have a problem with the word retarded, they're saying this is a slur designed to hurt people who are mentally disabled. The primary target of the word retarded is our friends who are not mentally disabled, who are acting as though they are mentally disabled. We say, hey, you're being retarded. And you know what? It is a very quick fix for somebody's bad behavior. Like, hey, quit acting like a fucking retard. They're like, ha, my bad. Not only, and also, if you are autistic to the point to where you can engage with people socially, for the most part, and somebody says that you're being retarded, this is a great way to learn what things are and are not acceptable. If it's like, ooh, that stung a little bit. Now, this is a good reinforcement as to how to make you less socially awkward, and you'll get called retarded less. It's the same way we use it for everybody else. You are being included with everybody else by being called retarded. If somebody calls somebody retarded, like Benny said, who's mentally disabled, everybody is getting in their shit. Like, hey, don't fucking talk to him like that. Are you fucking kidding me? This guy can barely
people
fucking
don't
tie
do
his
that.
shoes.
Most people don't do that. Most people hear people get called retarded and they laugh at it and averagely will join in. It's just how it is. Okay, I don't know what cope or what reality you fucking live in this weird fucking bubble where everyone goes hoop a fucking dot all day and go, we're gonna hold hands together and we're gonna agree and we're gonna all get along, right? Jimmy and Bobby and whatever the fuck else you want to say. Like, it's some weird reality. No, people are fucking savages and monkeys in this reality, in this society, and that's not what people do. So, like, let's get out of this fantasy world that people just, oh, this person's mentally ill. We can't make fun of them.
I didn't say
That's not
mentally
how this
ill.
works.
Oh,
If
okay.
somebody's so mentally challenged that they can't tie their shoes or button their shirt and somebody calls them retarded, you don't think that people are like, hey, that's not cool.
Can I get a point
on
here really quick?
Most people wouldn't do that. Most people would join in and make fun of them.
And
Even
also,
if
Queen
they-
Alexa,
even-
Let's let
I've got
my
a very
Alpha-
relevant point on
Oh,
the back
sure.
of Alexa right now.
wait,
Okay, fine. Tuna, please, quick.
Okay.
and then myopic.
Well, this isn't even a quick. This is what I was trying. This is my main point. Nobody in this room doesn't have a word that is secretly just the R slur. Whether or not we're saying savage, like you were using there, whether or not no matter what anybody's actually
Call them
using,
troglodyte.
everybody wants a word that is functionally doing what the word retard does. Now, if
True.
we're actually gonna, no, this is the point. This is really fucking important. No one has ever actually stopped saying the word retard. What they've done is they've tried to find different ways where they can cleverly get away with redesigning the word. You've decided to redesign it around the basis of race in like little 1488 tism leans. That's what your whole thing has been in this conversation. Well, as long as it's kind of Nazi rebranded, that's kind of funny. So I can say it because I'm not actually sounding like what I'm saying is that it's anti-retard. What I'm actually doing is like anti-black, anti-Jew. That makes it cool and funny. No, everybody wants to
It's
have an
true.
outgroup. Everybody wants an outgroup, and that's what this has always been about. That's what the R slur's always been about. Making it so that there's an outgroup that you can compare somebody to and say, hey, there's a social expectation in this space, and you are not obeying that social condition. That's all it's ever
Perfect.
been. And if we
Myopic
want to get
times.
rid of that, we are never going to find a word that is harmless. It's never going to
No, there
go
definitely
there
is
needs to
words
be an
that are
outgroup.
harmless. They
All right.
exist. You're fucking coping.
Myopic
Huh?
times.
What?
This is a perfect time for Myopic to come in.
I actually kind of agree with Tuna Chip here because, like, personally, I try not to use the words idiot, stupid, moron, any of those words because they all have the exact same root in being clinical definitions for people who have mental disabilities, and they're inaccurate when being used against people who don't actually have those mental disabilities because we aren't saying that you're incapable of having these thought processes that would lead you to a better conclusion. We're saying you're intellectually lazy. You're not putting in the
Yes.
work to get to those conclusions. So personally, I'm against using all of those words because they're inaccurate and they don't actually go to the heart of the matter of what we're actually discussing. And then I had some things I wanted to talk to Benny about. Benny, you say that you wouldn't use those words against somebody with a mental disability, but the thing you're doing when you use these words is you're saying, hey, look at Johnny over there. Johnny has Down syndrome. You're acting like him. That's what you're doing when you use the word retarded.
Yeah, and acting like Johnny is actually like objectively bad.
Do you think Johnny is a less valuable person?
No. Well, I mean, like not intrinsically, but like I think it's bad that Johnny has Down syndrome.
Yeah, now you want to propagate people calling them retarded, right? Because like you're okay with this word being used, and it gets propagated.
He's not a propagator.
And
No,
it
No,
absolutely is.
I actually,
If you allow the
I've
usage of
actually
the word,
literally been saying the
it
opposite.
leads to harm that happens to people like that.
I don't agree that that's the case.
Because you live in a fantasy. You live in a bubble. Go outside, touch grass, do
I
things.
do go
Get off
outside.
Twitch Ball. This
I
space is
do.
horrible.
I don't
Leave
even.
it.
I don't.
Get out of
I don't
it.
spend. I don't spend too much time on Twitch Bowl. I actually have like
then-
real
then
friends that I
wherever
talk to.
you're in, leave it. Go outside, touch grass, realize reality.
Yeah, I also don't agree with this because we're basically saying that people with mental disabilities aren't getting victimized more than average, even though literally I'm looking at the Bureau of Justice statistics right now. They are 4 times higher rate of violent victimization than people without any kind of disabilities.
I don't think that's because we use the word retarded, though. The reason why they are victimized is because people who seek to victimize people, people who seek to abuse people, find a easy target in people who are not going to be able to verbally and physically defend themselves the way that somebody who is has their mental faculties about them. They also don't have a good way to reach out to other people for help. Look, Clean Alexa,
They're abused by their caretakers. They're abused by their
Yes.
caretakers way more than anybody else. The reason they're abused is because they're abusable. They're very, very abusable. It's the same reason that black people are more abused in America. If we took it from an honest perspective, it has to do with the amount of exposure to environments that are abusive, whether or not it's the police, whether or not it's poverty, whether or not it's the police that are being put into places that are impoverished, where they need to get the police from out of town, so they're not actually able to understand the context of the area. It's like a majority of the abuse that happens to people is not coming from the perspective of like these people. It's some of it comes from the targeted abuse, but some of it just comes down to the fact that they're abusable and there are people in proximity that want to abuse people.
It's people who have power
really easy.
in these positions. It's people who have power, right? And then people who don't have these mental illnesses have a power over people who do, and then they use it to hurt people. Police use their power to hurt black people. Fucking weird fucking politicians use their power to take down trans people. And the Jews, I can't say that one. Regardless on that.
It sounds like we all
yeah.
agree with that, though. Nobody's disagreeing with that.
Then we should agree that using these words are harmful because there is a
No.
There's
There's a difference between you never made the word argument. You never made the word argument.
Yeah. The police don't have power over black people because they say the N-word. The police have power over black people because of like systemic
Guns.
injustice and all and racism. Yeah, and guns. But like the intellectually disabled people who get abused, they're not being abused necessarily by the R word. They're being abused because, like Tuna said, they're abusable. Me saying the R word doesn't mean that now all of a sudden these people are going to get abused more.
People are abusable by the system, same as people with disabilities are abusable by people in society, right? We see in inner cities how black people get treated all the fucking time because it's fucking easy. You put yourselves in positions that allow that to happen, and people with disabilities can't help that, so they're immediately a target of these things.
Yeah, and that has nothing to do with saying the R word.
You know what, Queen? I think that we'd all agree. I think we would all agree that a cop using the N-word and a normal person using the N-word have different levels of weight. In the same way that somebody who is a caretaker of people with mental disabilities saying the word retard would be way different than just a child or a teenager that is, bullying another kid. Even especially one that isn't retarded. There's a different weight there because they have that power. Now, if we're going to talk about power and we're going to talk about abuse, we're all going to be in agreement and suddenly the debate's going to wither away. But the real conversation here is about whether or not the word has an innate value or if the word is vivified by the power of the person using it. I think we all agree with the latter. The first is the problem. Do we think that because kids call each other retard, then suddenly people who take care of mentally challenged people are going to be more abusive to them? Do you think that it trickles up in that way?
I would say I think it gives a better environment for that abuse to occur, because by doing that we are putting out into society that these people are less valuable, and insofar as we do that, there will be less and less efforts to actually make these people part of the community, and if we don't make them part of the community, then they won't be able to have advocates that help them.
Are they able to be part of the community in the way that you're talking about? The people that we're really talking about, the ones that get abused in this significant way?
I mean, if we're talking, it would depend on exactly the thing. But for example, Down syndrome, people with Down syndrome have jobs. They go places. They can live on their own sometimes with help from, state care. It really depends on what we're talking about. But I think a significant portion of them, yes.
I want to address Queen Alexa's initial point, which was that the R word, that retard is more harmful than the N word because people with mental disabilities have not had a glow up in society. Their conditions have not gotten any better. One, treatment for people with mental handicaps, since the word retarded was normally used in society and we moved away from it, has improved significantly. It is people who had ADHD couldn't even go to school. They would just be like, they're unteachable. We're not going to teach you. You got to figure something else out, bud. ADHD? Everybody fucking has ADHD now. Nobody cares. It's like, if you can tell somebody you have it and they're like, you're fine. We don't give a shit. Like, but I have a question. I have a question for you as well. Do you think that because if everybody stopped using the word retard, that in the next 10 years, we will see a tremendous amount of increased living conditions, increased amount of rights for people with mental handicaps? I don't see that to be the case. However,
increase our rights, but it would decrease the amount of harm that's done to people with disabilities. And then to your point about these things when I made this statement. So men's mental health has been declining for the past 45 years, and we've seen an uprise in men committing suicide at an exponential higher rate than ever before. Same with women, gay people, trans people, people with mental health, soldiers coming back from overseas. Their suicide rates are exponentially higher than it was 30 years ago. And trying to get this help is extremely hard because I'm retarded. All right. And then the systems that we have in place are continually keeping them down, right? Because there's active power structures that are hurting these people. So that's the problem.
Well, but that's the question there is not about like yeah, I do agree, and I think that most of us will agree. Mental health is becoming a bigger problem, and I think that that's actually to the effect of why the language is not actually going to create really most of the change that happens in the quality of people's lives happens outside of the language.
Why do trans people
right?
commit suicide at such a high rate?
Wait, say it again.
Why do trans people commit suicide at such a high rate?
I don't know.
Because
that's
being
stupid.
trans sucks.
I don't think it's
Because it's not a very good life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
is that? Why is it a bad life?
Multiple
see the
factors.
line.
One, your body is at war with your brain.
Yep. What's the social
So-
aspect of things, though?
The social aspect of things.
Mhm.
Yeah. People don't like trans people. That's another part of it.
Oh, and people use what, like slurs and language that actively puts them down, right?
That as well as just
Oh,
beating
okay.
them, neglecting them
Right,
as
so now
parents,
let's-
etc.
Now let's replace trans people with people with disabilities, and the same still applies. That people actively use words in society to actively harm people with disabilities.
The
that
amount of
put
money
them
that is
down.
the amount of money and the amount of support coming from the United States government towards people that have mental disabilities that are formally recognized and would be the type that are referred to with the term retarded is immeasurably larger than the amount of support happening towards trans people. Also, there's not really anybody in the world that at the end of the day when they're making policy decisions says, you know what we need to do? We need to get these retards out of the bathrooms. They're trying to rape our kids. The conditions on the social level kind of stay at the social level for the term R word because it comes down to people who are really just kind of full of shit in a way that most common good society people don't agree with. Nobody actually likes those people, but people in power hate trans people. People in power hate gay people, and that's why that's a
People
larger
in power
problem.
Also hate people with disabilities.
Not nearly as much. Mostly for the spending thing. They don't like having a social
Yeah,
security.
What about the insane asylums? What about the asylums that constantly abuse people? What about back in the time when people could literally call up and say, "I think my
Back in the
neighbor's fucking
time, just like the
crazy," and they
Sundown
show up
Towns.
and put your neighbor in a straitjacket and haul them away?
We're allowed to go in the past and talk about the brutal asylum, but we're not allowed to go in the past. By the way, 10 years and talk about the last time that there was a grave offense towards black people based on the basis of race.
Because
Can't
no
talk
one
about
cares
Sundown
about
Town,
those.
but let's talk
Nobody.
about
No
the
one
asylum.
actually cares.
I just want to point something out. We talked about suicide rates. I would just like to point out that there's a study from 2009 that shows that suicidal behavior among patients that have been clinically deemed to be mentally retarded patients have a lower than general population suicide attempts. So it doesn't seem like their lives are being affected to the point to where they're trying to take their own lives.
2009.
What's that?
It's
Oh.
2009.
Uh,
Find a
do
You
you-
new
think
study.
things have gotten worse since then or better?
Absolutely.
Can you
Worse.
demonstrate that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, like, hold on. So,
We'd
like,
love to
let's
see a
look.
study, yeah.
So I bet in 2009, nobody gave a shit when people said retard at all.
At all.
Yeah, 'cause in 2009, we still actively had sundown towns, and we're still stoning gays.
Wait, are you saying
Okay,
gays and
yeah.
black people are retarded? Because this was about
Yes.
retarded people. Oh,
Yes. Issue?
You knew the answer. You knew the answer, Drazi.
I did not think that they were gonna say that.
Absolutely. Like, you know who
No,
I am?
so here's the thing. Queen Alexa, secretly, the big contradiction that got exposed there is that Queen Alexa hates black people, but is pro retard and pro reducing the harm of the term retard. That's the unstitching. This is just a big meme for her. We have one actual legitimate we have one person who President Sundayed. We have one person that is there purely as a meme, and then we have Myopic here, whose closest person
You can
in terms of
actually
agreement
engage with
is
me, too.
me.
All you can say it's
The
me.
only
All you're
thing
saying
about
is because you can't win the
the only
argument,
difference
or you're
between
just,
me and
"Oh, it's a
Myopic-
meme," 'cause you can't
Oh!
actually engage with me. You absolute fucking troglodyte. Is that what you're doing?
Troglodyte. Ooh, I wonder what that means. Who? I wonder what that's secretly
that
just a
does mean, you fucking
repurposing
monkey.
of.
Huh? How is it mean, you fucking absolute baboon?
Let's see. Are you working? Oh, baboon. What's the next one? Mongoloid? Is that one because it's a racially
That's why I am that.
Okay, she's laughing too because it's a meme at the end of the day. The only person, listen, myopic, me and you are so similar, and I think that me and you, the only difference between me and you is that I think no one's actually willing to change. I would love to be on your position and say, you know what, we probably should, because in the end, I think that we should all just be nicer. But the real debate here is whether or not it is a reasonable ask and whether or not it'll get anywhere. And my main argument is right here. No one ever stopped saying the R slur ever. No one ever will stop because this is what we love to do. We love to punish people socially for being outside of the social in-group. And that's all that the R word has ever been.
So, Tuna, do you think that nobody should like call people stupid ever?
If I had it my way, if I was talking about like not like an ethical, like it's wrong to do, but just like if I had my ideal world, no one would ever like be mean ever. No one would feel anger ever.
Oh, okay. I disagree with that, but
I mean, is that why you're fucking pivoting off of like you can't debate me? So you're like, oh, Alexa's just memeing because you can't actually debate it.
I think I'm on Tuna's
Alexa.
side. I think that you're memeing, honestly.
Yeah, I think what you're doing is you can't actually argue with me. You're trying to just go, it's a meme.
No, I
because then
pointed
you
out the
stuck
most
yourself in a position where you can't actually argue. So you
Okay,
can
how about you argue with this?
or
Hey,
fuck
Alexa,
off.
you want to talk about arguing? How about you argue with this point? You can't make it through a sentence without using something that is just a reworked version of the fucking word retard. So if you could make it through one sentence, maybe 5 sentences, let's go on
Is it what, one
expert
or
mode.
five? Which one are we doing? Are we doing one? Are we doing 5?
We're going to go 5 sentences because I don't think that you can do it. I don't think you can actually do it. Not
Easy.
without restricting yourself in a way where you feel deeply uncomfortable.
It's super easy. Tuna,
Which
I
would
don't-
be causing harm, by the way, to a mentally challenged
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, I don't care. Okay, so let's have this conversation, right? So, Tuna, I think that saying things like the R word are problems in society because we're actively harming people who have mental disabilities, right?
What form of
With-
harm? I just want to. Hey, what form of harm?
The harm is that there's active power scaling that shows that people who don't have disabilities, compared to people who do have disabilities, being harmed by the people who don't have the disability to hurt the people who do.
So wait, because they're being harmed, no, because this is important. You're not saying that the word causes harm. You're saying that because they're being harmed, we shouldn't say the word.
Yes, I'm saying that we should not condone harm in any municipal in a way that can fucking hurt people that have active disabilities.
What in what way is saying the word retard causing harm?
It is because you're putting someone down for something that is an immutable characteristic of themselves.
So
what qualifies as a
Hold
disability?
on, or something that they're self-conscious about, and by calling them that hurts them because they're already aware of the problems they have, and now people are actively pointing that out and making them feel worse about it.
Do you get mad when I call Elder Drazi ugly?
No.
Do you get mad? Oh, no, don't worry, Drazi. I'm just using random examples. Would you? I'm just trying to create the most innocent sounding because it's easy on that.
I don't give a shit.
What about what
call me
about when I
ugly all
call
you
his wife
want.
ugly? What about when I call his wife ugly? Would you be offended by that one?
No, because it's true.
Well, no, you would recognize the okay.
It's
Well,
not.
no, that would be a reason for you to be offended. Actually, contradiction number 1. So you would recognize, right, that women are more insecure about their appearance than men are generally in our society, right?
They're more open about their insecurities. Yeah.
Okay, so regardless, you're going to say then
about it.
maybe even open with themselves. So they're going to feel more negative emotions about it, right?
Sure.
You know that women are more financially motivated by their insecurities when they're more open about it, and that they spend a lot of money, whether it's on beauty, whether or not it's on therapy, whether or not it's on some other fake shit, in order to make them feel better about those insecurities, right?
Sure.
So you know that there's a material harm happening to women, but you seem to put the onus on the women when it's women. But in another argument, you're saying it's on the onus of anybody who is insulting them. I'm trying to figure out why the onus in this instance is going to be on the woman and why it's not on, for instance, in analogous, when somebody calls someone retarded, they don't know that they're retarded, but they're being put down.
Self-responsibility of things, right? Sometimes certain things might contradict itself because there has to be responsibility taken on certain individual levels.
So you think that the retard can't take responsibility?
Depending on what kind of issues they have, maybe not.
Okay, so would you say that that's an objectively worse position to be inside of?
No.
You don't think that it's objectively worse to be unable to be responsible for yourself?
Nope.
Okay.
Whoa.
It's kind of just wrong, I think, because if I know for a fact that if your arms were cut off and you shat your pants, you'd probably be pretty sad that you can't wipe your ass. But if you instead
people
were
learn how to use their feet to wipe their ass. I mean, there are ways around that.
okay, paraplegic, fully unable to use their arms, legs, you just have no motion. You shit yourself.
That's not
You
even a
probably
human
really
though
wish
at
that you
that
could
point.
wipe.
That's not even.
You
a human
probably
at that
wish you
point.
could wipe.
We
Admit
also
that you
used
wish
the
you could wipe.
argument that you could learn to overcome some of the social challenges too, and that shit got shot down as well. So if you want to say that people can wipe with their feet, you have to concede that we were right, that some of these issues that were brought up that are social challenges for people that might get them called retarded, there are avenues to
Yes,
overcome
I'm
them.
saying that you can teach yourself, but you shouldn't be propagating the issues that they have, right? If someone has an issue, you shouldn't be go, haha, fucking armless, fucking like whatever you want to say,
Nobody's
right?
saying we should do that.
Yeah, but you're propagating something that you could do that, right? Because you're already wanting to say the thing that can harm them.
I want
No,
to
we're
say
not- we didn't even-
Tuna's being retarded when I'm playing Dark Souls with him, a co-op, and he decides to fucking roll off the edge of the map instead of attacking the enemy when I hit him and stunned him.
Yes,
That's
but
what I
Tuna
want.
has a mental illness and has already said this. So by calling him that could lead to some form of harm in the future.
It would be on. It would. But you agree in other situations, I think, and I think it would be fine to agree with this because we do know that there are gradations of amount of control. That the main thing that I think differentiates the situation between the woman is that most women that we're talking about, just on the basis of the being women, have a level of self-responsibility and they have an onus placed on them because of the ability. I agree with you, actually. I think that that's exactly what me and, sorry, I've forgotten your name, Benny. Me and Benny have been saying the entire time. The people who it is most offensive to say fucked up shit about are the people that can't do anything about it. That's when it's fucked up. But when you call somebody who has full ability to deal with their emotions, full ability to understand the social consequences and the social situation under which the term has been used, then you can be called that and it's fine.
How do you know what they're
And
going through? How do you know they're not going through some seasonal depression? How do you know that they're not having a really hard point in life right now? How do you
here's
know
the
any of
thing,
that?
though. Does retard mean someone who has depression? No, it doesn't, right? It's usually about an immutable trait.
I just want to point out that we do have somebody else that has popped in here. If you
Hi,
want to
Jenny.
unmute yourself, you can give your piece. I
Hey,
had
what's
seen that
up?
you were very supportive of Queen Alexa's arguments in my chat, and which is why you decided
Yeah,
to come in.
surprisingly.
Hi, Jenny.
So I have one question for the panel real quick. Why is it so important to make people feel bad?
So when particularly when guys interact with each other, there is a camaraderie built through bullying that gently bullying each other that is
Hey,
hard
this
to
is
match.
a gender neutral trait. This is a gender
Well,
neutral
I said
trait. Women
this
do
is
it too.
particularly a thing. So I'm speaking from like when I said if I call Tuna retarded for rolling off the map in Dark Souls, I'm not saying what you did is stupid and also
Mhm.
I hate you. What I'm saying is what you're doing is stupid. Don't do that, and we're going to laugh about it.
I mean, if he does it enough, you might end up hating him. But like,
I'm
Jenny,
not gonna hate him
can I-
because he's retarded.
Can I
I'm
try?
gonna hate him
Can I
'cause he
take a
sucks at
shot
Dark
at answering
Souls.
Jenny's question?
Yeah,
Can I
by all
try
means.
take a shot before you put a second point in, Jenny?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't. I'm not trying to silence you on this. First off, I just want to say, Jenny, I love whenever you call into something because you make every Twitch conversation, because of the quality of your mic, it makes everything feel like Howard Stern. It feels like we have a call coming in from a phone, from like a toll booth. Someone's put in 75 cents, and they're just like, I think that he should suck his own dick, Jerry. Like, it always gives off that vibe.
well,
Jenny,
I'm using my phone.
my opinion, like I said before, is that I would prefer everybody be in a situation where that type of ribbing that happens could be
Mhm.
dealt with in a way that isn't meant to act or doesn't ever cross the line into hurting someone's feelings. But I also acknowledge that we're in a social space where all the people that claim to be against the R word still are not willing to let go of why they say the word. They're not willing to get rid of the function of the word. They just want to find a different word, and I'll go ahead and say it, a more morally defensible form of the word They're not actually trying to
Right.
figure out something that is actually morally better. They're trying to find something that gives them a little bit more of a pass, a word they have a pass for. So when they say this person's retarded and they're like, don't say retard, that's offensive to people with mental disabilities. And it'd be like, well, that's probably true. It's just me and Drazi in this chat right now. And I agree that we should probably not be, saying stuff that's fucked up in other contexts. When we're talking about the discourse here, all he's really trying to do is say, hey, you're acting such and such way. Now, everyone would say, what if they said the N-word instead? We'd be like, yeah, that's even more dangerous for him to just be lobbing at me. But at the same time, if we're saying that the argument is the harm argument, then that doesn't actually work because the harm argument hasn't come out yet. So what we're really trying to egg out, what we're trying to pull out is ask not, hey, everybody really just wants to hurt each other and it's good to hurt each other. What we're actually trying to say is, what is actually the argument? Because it doesn't seem to be the harm argument. It seems to actually be, don't say certain words because other people, what? X. We're looking for what the true argument is. When it doesn't cause harm, in situations where it doesn't cause harm, why should it still not be said?
Well, I guess their argument is that just by the virtue of saying the word, you're creating an environment where more people will say it to people who actually have like mental disabilities, which first of all, I reject it. And even if that's the case, I could just convince those people not to use it in that way.
It's just that people do. That's just like the
Yeah, and I would just say that they shouldn't. I would just say that they
because
shouldn't.
You don't, and you think people shouldn't doesn't mean that they don't.
Okay, so again, I'll bring it back to being black. I don't have a problem.
By the way, I gotta bounce, guys. We're running out of time on my end, so I actually have to go. I'm not going to win this argument anyway because I'm already on the winning side. See you later. Check out my channel, Tuna Chip at twitch.tv.
Yeah,
Love
it's
your
absolutely. Sub to Tuna, he's amazing, and we are gonna wrap up with closing statements in 10 minutes. If you want to stick around for the next 30 seconds, Tuna, I wanted to bounce off. I want to build off of your point that
Sure.
when we want to find other words to say retarded without saying retarded, which I think is worse because it's sneaky. It's snaky. You're saying I want to pretend to be good when I'm not. And what's the number one word people use for that? We moved away from calling people with mental deficiencies retarded. We started saying people have autism. Now, when we call people who have mental deficiencies autistic, we have somehow switched from using the word retarded to say, what are you, fucking autistic? That's what people say now. They actually they use the thing that we call people with mental deficiencies,
Which is
as the thing to say. We're using retarded instead because I think that calling somebody autistic is bad because this is an actual description of people who have mental deficiencies. We don't use retarded in the medical sense anymore. We use retarded only to rib our friends or somebody who is
Can I
acting
give an example really quick?
insane.
So this was the most pressing example for me. SDL, Sock Done Left, made a tweet and he said, people should not say, quote, retard, end quote. Both because one, it's ableist, and two, the alternatives are much funnier. This is his list. Say smooth-brained, soft-skulled, room temperature IQ, brain rotted instead. Every single one of these terms, everything that anybody has ever made, and I know it's more obvious in this case. Sometimes people are reaching into things that are a little bit different than that. But every single thing people have been replacing it with, no one's actually willing to let go of the thing that is wrong with the communication, which is that you're using a lack of intelligence to talk about how the other person is doing something wrong. Because everybody deep inside knows that when a person has a lower intelligence, it is an objectively worse condition for them. Now, if we were to talk about what should we do instead, it would be get rid of the type of like in-group harassment where people are making fun of one another for having a lower IQ or exhibiting behaviors of people with a lower IQ. And I'd love that. That'd be a better condition. But it's currently of a situation where I know that even the naysayers of the word are not willing to do that. And that shows to me that we're just never, or maybe just for now, for a really long time, not going to get rid of it because it's part of our social. It's kind of like when we stopped like making fun of women, and then suddenly people started making fun of gay people a lot more, and then stop making fun of gay people. And now we're talking about now you can say like femboy, or you can say like soy and beta, but it's all just a progression of the same thing. Femininity, bad. Mentally retarded, bad. No one ever really wants to let go of these things, even on the left that tries to moralize about these things. And I've kind of given up on the idea that you can cure things using intention. I've given up on the idea that we're able to just change what language people are using when everything is just like, I'm going to create the new way of saying it, the way that is a little bit more high IQ, which is the funniest part about this, is everybody actually just wants to sound smart while they're saying the word retard, which is the most offensive version of it all, which is like, I'm using the very act of not using the word retard to prove I'm not like the accused, the retard. Check out how not retarded I am in the way that I say retard. That's what, and it disgusts me. It disgusts me because we're going the opposite direction, right?
Yes.
That's my main thing. But anyway, I got to bounce. Thanks everybody for chilling. I generally don't use the R word almost ever. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I've had to say it so many times on this
you
panel.
take the massive L as always to me, and you will always be an L to me. Okay.
Listen, the only L that I've ever taken to you is the little line you put next to my name on Lithuanian when you turn on the gas chamber. See you later, Queen Alexa. See you later, everybody else.
Peace
Have a
out.
great day, Tuna.
Bye.
So
Bye.
so I personally like using the F slur quite a bit, and I like how that does things more than I do the R slur, because the F slur is just funnier.
I think it's coming back, to be honest.
I
When,
hope so.
when I was a kid,
It's like when
Oh.
I was just gonna say it's like when people get up in arms when I use the word cunt. I don't find it offensive. I never have. But I also think it's hilarious when people react in a way that is like, oh no, you said the C word, and it's like
you know what you do?
I get that.
You know how you defend
What?
yourself? You go, well, I am a cunt, so I'm allowed to say it. That's
Well,
how you get
also,
them.
like I just make memes. I'm like, I'd call you a cunt, but you lack, depth and warmth.
Yeah, but
But-
how do you use that word? Like, in what situation will you say that somebody is a cunt, or just say the word?
When they're being cunty, I don't like you'd have to like. you'd
True.
really
But
I
have-
call people
that's
retarded when they're acting retarded.
Yeah, that's the same way that I feel about saying retard. It's like when somebody's being retarded, that's when I say it. But I don't say when somebody is actually mentally deficient.
Yeah, I'm saying you're
Right.
acting
But,
retarded,
like-
but you're not, so maybe you should stop acting like you are.
Exactly.
But like, here's the thing: to play off like an argument that Alexa made earlier, you kind of play down the damage that the word does in society. And it's not just about caregivers. Like you guys made an example using like children at school. That's where it starts. It's the othering of it's usually the othering of the disabled kids.
To be clear, we
And-
all agreed at the beginning that nobody should be
No.
putting children down based on their intelligence.
And I'm not talking about adults doing it. I'm talking about
I
kids
said
doing it.
nobody should.
Yeah, but the kids would do it
Right,
regardless.
no.
It doesn't matter whether or not they use the word. They would do
Children
it
are
regardless.
the
I know.
worst.
I know. Well, kind of. But they're really pliable. And they will act accordingly to what the other adults are doing around them.
Yeah, but the
There
other
are
adults
other-
the adults around them are not attacking people for being
No,
mentally
they're
deficient.
still- the thing is, they still other these kids.
Yeah, but that has
And
nothing to do with
that's the thing.
retard. If instead of calling my friend a retard, if I just said he was stupid, then a kid would call a kid who has a mental disability stupid instead of a retard. It doesn't really matter. It would just
And
be the same
Right.
thing.
If we wanted to
That's
get
not-
rid of the
that's not-
trigger
I know,
words, kids would just be like, ah ha ha, look at Billy. He has lack of social skills and his intelligence doesn't meet our standards, and now we're going to move away from him and make him feel bad because of his inadequacies. Like, it doesn't matter how far out we draw it out or whatever. Kids in particular will want to make other kids feel bad because they're little monsters that haven't figured out how to properly treat people yet. Like, if you have a funny last name, they're gonna take that and they're gonna turn it into like something like fucked up and sexual, or like you don't even need anything. They could be like, oh, who are you? Like, hey, I'm Bill Johns. Like, your last name's Johns, ha ha ha, F slur. Like, that's how kids are. They just want to make each other feel bad. They're just little balls of fucking anger and emotions, and the older they get, their hormones get mixed in there, and they just want to attack everybody. They're a nightmare when it comes to interacting with each other.
They learn that from us. Like, it's a self-perpetuating thing.
Yeah,
They
well,
learn
okay,
that
so
from us.
it sounds like you're just saying that people should just be nicer, which is fine for you to say, but like the point of the discussion is
Right.
about whether or not it's okay to say retard specifically. And I'm saying it really doesn't matter what word you use because people are always going to criticize people for being stupid. I'm saying that you probably shouldn't use that word or just criticize somebody's intelligence at all if they have actual mental deficiencies that you can see. But if they're not like that, then it's fine for you to use any word to call them stupid.
Yeah, by this metric, I don't see what's the difference between somebody, if you're calling somebody with cerebral palsy, Butterfingers, because they can't hold something, or if you call somebody who drops the ball Butterfingers. Like, we're always going to have some way of describing something that somebody can't do good. The difference is, are we going to target somebody who can't help that they are bad at this thing versus somebody who can?
It seems like we've already. It seems like we've made all the arguments we could on this, and I mean, obviously, Benny and Eldrazi here are just ableist, and they hate people with disabilities. And I don't know if we can actually take this any farther because, like, I feel like we're like a
Like,
standstill
who would
here.
have thought that I'd be on the team, like Team Alexa right now? Like, you know.
I know, right? I'm the horrible evil Nazi that gets that made F-bombs when I go suicide.
Hey, chill.
I actually want to hit on something Benny said earlier because it seemed like you were saying that adults didn't engage in that behavior and it was just kids being kids. But I really think if you really try to think back to your time in school, think back to the class of people who were always getting sent to like detention. A lot of those kids had mental disabilities. They had some type of learning disability that made it so
they weren't diagnosed.
Yeah, so the adults in power, they see those kids and they're like, that kid doesn't want to learn. That kid's annoying. I hate this kid. I don't want to deal with him. And they get sent and they get grouped in with, and they're the bad kids from then on out. They do not get the level of care that quote unquote normal kids would get.
Right. Like the adults right now that are going around getting diagnosed with ADHD and autism in their like 20s, 30s, and 40s, they were the kids that were sent to detention and were always being called by the teacher. Like those were the kids that needed the help that weren't getting it, and they were always being called, you know, stupid, dumb, the R word, whatever. So it's like it's like I said before, it's self-perpetuating, and like this, it's. I know it's fun. It's such a fun word to say. I know it is. But like. There are so many other words that you can call your friends when they're doing dumb ass.
I understand.
Things.
So, but
they still mean
what? Yeah, it all just means the same thing. It sounds like to me the argument that you're making is that you just shouldn't make fun of people for being dumb or not being able to pay attention at all. If that's the argument that you're making, that's a fine. I'm actually amenable to that argument a little bit, but saying that retard specifically is the word that we can't use, I don't see why that's different from calling somebody stupid or an imbecile.
Or smooth-brained, or any of those things as well.
Yeah,
I don't like any of those either because they're first of all, smooth-brained is gross. Okay, it's like it's the moist of insults. But like there's just so many other things that you could say, and like, are you trying to get their attention in that moment because they're doing like a dumb thing, or like, you know, it's one of those things like that, like. I've never heard it said out loud in any context. First of all, it always just sounds like you were waiting to say the word. You were just waiting for somebody to do something dumb so you could say the word. It never comes off as authentic. It comes off as try hard.
So, as somebody who I really enjoy using the correct word for things, like correct in being like it's going to convey what I'm thinking or feeling. I think that most people, in these moments when we use any of these things, any of these words, what we're doing is we're feeling a very strong desire to express something. So we want a word that's going to hit hard too. Whether that be for like, I want you to know that you're dumb and I want it to be funny. That's usually when we're going to reach for these words. I want you to know that you're being stupid. And I also want there to be a connotation that like, I'm trying to express this in a powerful but fun and friendly way. And I think that is how the majority of the time that I've seen it used. And I will say, 2 times in my entire life, in the last 20 years, have I said retarded and then found out that I said it when I shouldn't have. I had no idea. These people were so normal and adept to social standards, but they were just annoying me to where I used it. I would say that if that was the standard for slurs, if once every 10 years you're gonna hurt somebody's feelings, and you have this now freedom to express yourself how you want, and the damage is that low, pretty fucking good. That's a pretty good, because like I have offended more people by just talking to them and having a conversation, not using any charged languages, and have them misunderstand my intentions than I have by saying retard. I've had people get really upset and really offended with me because they're misunderstanding what I'm saying, or because I just don't agree with them, and that hurts their feelings. They think that I'm making like a claim about how I feel about them because I don't agree with them about something. These are the things that I find hurt people's feelings more often by a landslide than using a word that I'm going to generally use with my friends, or just as like a fun way to say, or a powerful way to say, I think that you're dumb, but I also want, like, I want us to laugh at the end of this. If my epic has something to say, or if Jenny has a response, we'll go ahead and do that, and then we're going to wrap up. Everybody can give their closing statements, and then Key of Weird is going to say who did the best on the opposing side. Do either one of you have a response to anything that was just said?
Well, I wanted to say earlier you said that you wanted to be accurate with your words, but then you're saying that you're calling somebody dumb. But earlier, when we were all talking about whether or not we would use that word against somebody with an actual mental disability, we said we wouldn't. So if you're calling somebody dumb, then clearly they're not actually embodying the trait of actually being like having a lower intelligence. So it's not the accurate way to attack them on that.
Yeah. When I say accurate, I don't mean like by the dictionary. What I'm saying is I'm trying to get the feeling that I have, and I want to put that into your brain when I say it. So it has to do with like the way in which which people talk, the way in which people are going to interpret what I'm saying. Because I know that I speak literally all the time. Like, I'm like, you can look my word up in the dictionary, and that fucking doesn't work. If I go by the dictionary definitions of words and I say things to people, they will often respond to me as though I said a bunch of words I didn't say. People interpret things in different ways than what the literal definitions of words are. You can look at literally, for example. We have to figure out how other people communicate, the ways in which they interpret things, and we have to craft our language to that to at least some degree, so that way what's in my head ends up in your head. And usually, and when I say somebody's being retarded, nobody goes, "Oh my God," they're like, they have such a mental deficiency that they, they has these implications attached to it. Nobody gets shocked and awed when I call somebody who is neurotypical retarded and then assume that this person is has these severe deficiencies about them. That's just not how that works, because we all have an understanding of what this means when I say it. Now, if there's somebody who has like swastika tattoos, like I'm sure Queen Alexa has, and they walk around saying the N-word all the time, and they call somebody retarded, there's going to be a big difference connotation if somebody who walks around being openly hateful all the time says retarded than if somebody who knows who like lacks all those things and says it to somebody that is known to be their friend. Context is going to be super important whenever anybody says anything, but I think there's a generally understood context of the word retarded. And then people who are getting mad about it say, I don't care about that. I personally don't like it. And I would change my position on it if the people who rallied against the word were people that had severe mental impairments. Like if I had like 20 people message me who said who had to have their caretakers message me, even like if I knew that these people would have been in what people in the 80s called mentally retarded, if these were the people saying like, hey, I don't like that you're doing this, I hated your panel, you really hurt me, this would affect the way that I used it. But I never see people railing against it who have these. It's always just people who don't. It's like if
I mean,
only
that's
white people said we hate the
why-
N-word, you shouldn't use the N-word, and black people were like silent on the issue. I don't think anybody would give a fuck. They'd be like, I think the answer would be like, why are all the white people acting as a mouthpiece for something that hasn't been getting complained about in the black community? That'd be really weird, right? We'd all be like, why are you doing this? But when it comes to the word retard, we can only rely on, we're only relying on what people who are not mentally deficient say about whether this word is good or bad. It's bizarre to me.
Well, I mean, that's why I decided to chime in. I have autistic kids. I've had people like literally tell me that my kids are retarded and that they'll never amount to anything. And I'm like, my kids are fucking amazing, and just because they aren't just like yours doesn't mean that they're not going to amount to anything. And that's a lot of what people mean when they use it derogatorily towards people with mental deficiencies, and not just, oh, you're dumb. You know what I mean? So that's why. That's kind of why I take offense to it. But at the same time, like, I wonder why like people rally so hard to use that word. It's literally, to me, it makes about as much sense as people who can't stop using the N-word. White people who can't stop using the N-word.
So if I said
Or
retarded to
make-
somebody and they said that offends me, I'd be like, I'm not going to say that to them ever again.
Right.
I
Yeah,
would course correct
I
like
think,
that.
I think we've now came full circle, it seems.
I would never say anything to anybody. In fact, when I meet people in real life, and I'm in a, like, if I'm going to play Magic and I meet somebody who's like new to the group, like, hey, just so you know, sometimes I like make jokes all the time and just say what's out of the top of my head. If I ever say anything that offends you, let me know, and I won't say that again, because I like to just go off the cuff. I like to be on the fly. And when I'm in a social situation in real life, I like to keep my energy high. And it's happened once or twice where somebody's like, hey, I didn't really like them. Like, that, if you're around, I'm never going to do that again. And we're chill. We're cool. They know that I'm respecting their feelings, and they appreciate that. And they can laugh, and they laugh at all the other goofy, silly shit that I say.
I will
Which
say,
is how I think we
I
should treat
used-
everybody.
Right, and I used to use the R swear all the time. I used to find ways to use it that weren't just saying you are, ard. Like, oh, that situation is so retarding, which is dumb. That's dumb, But like, it once it was used against me and my kids, I realized what it was doing. And hearing other kids use it really makes me think that they're not just coming up with that word on their own. They're hearing it at home. Somebody's saying it to them, somebody's saying it near them about someone else, and they're learning it. They're learning it, and they're using it against other kids. And that was my point. It's like,
But are they
you've got-
singling out other kids with mental deficiencies
Absolutely they are.
based on that?
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I did
We
say
need
kids
to
are
do what we want
monsters,
to.
and that we
But
shouldn't.
I just feel like I mean, look, if their parents or the older people around them who are using the word retarded, if they're using it to talk about people who have mental deficiencies, then those parents or those older people are wrong.
Using it
But
in-
if they're just using it,
they're using it in the capacity that you guys are, but they're also using it in the capacity to use against like kids like mine.
yeah,
And
and
that's-
if they're doing that, then that's wrong. But what I'm saying is, even if
Absolutely.
those parents just said stupid, instead of using retard, those kids would still find another word to attack people who have mental deficiencies. So it really just doesn't matter.
Listen, we use
Right.
the same argument with white people who think
Jenny,
they
respond,
have the N-word
and then
pass.
we're wrapping up.
Okay, we use the same argument with white people that think they have the N-word pass, and then you're like, oh, okay, go to a neighborhood you don't live in, and you use that word, and then you see, fuck around, find out. You find out if you actually have the pass.
The neighborhood that they would go to, the people would be upset, but I don't think that they've done anything wrong. But I mean, it might just be a
You
difference.
don't, but like there are some neighborhoods you can go in where you can say it, and then some neighborhoods that you can go in and you will be fine.
Okay, Benny and Jenny. Jesus Christ, I didn't mean to rhyme. You're both in my Discord. This can be picked up in the Discord if you want. In fact, I encourage it. Fight each other to the death in my Discord. I would love that. We're gonna do closing statements here, and then Key of Weird is gonna say who that disagrees with me did the best, and I will set up if you can accept or decline the challenge to a one-on-one debate, and then we'll set it up, and then we'll all go home to our loved ones and not online. Benny, your closing thoughts.
I didn't. I hope I didn't like upset Haru, and that's why she left. I think that's why that happened, but I don't know. Ultimately, I just feel like when people use the word retard, if they're using it to just talk about people who are acting dumb, who otherwise wouldn't, I think that's fine. If people are using it to attack people who have some sort of mental deficiency or intellectual disability, I think that's wrong. And I think that we can just leave it at that. I think we should judge people based on the intention of the things that they say and not necessarily how other people take it.
Thank you, Benny. Myopic.
Well, I personally don't use the word, and like I said earlier, I don't use words like idiot, stupid, or dumb. I don't get massively offended by it, but I actually like to be incredibly accurate when I'm attacking somebody, because I am a vicious and hateful person. And if I am talking to somebody, I'm attacking their thought processes, I'm attacking their lack of research, and I'm attacking their laziness in developing their own opinions. I'm not attacking their intelligence.
That makes sense. Thank you. Oh, by the way, do you have you do Twitch, right?
Not really.
Oh, okay. I seen down your thing. I was like, if you want, plug your shit. You have nothing to plug?
Not really, no.
All right, Jenny Burns.
I am just of the mind that you just shouldn't use it. It's intellectually lazy. Find better insults if you need to insult somebody. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Thank you for that, and then also thank you for coming on mid-panel.
No
That was
problem.
definitely appreciated. Queen Alexa, your final angry thoughts, please.
Big shock. I didn't believe anything I said. I'm extremely pro retard. I'm extremely pro slurs in general. I love calling people retards, and I love hurting people in Twitch politics. I am the Nazi of Twitch politics. I run the political shit show. Discord.gg/political shit show. I do the biggest panels that are on Twitch poll. I will continue to do them, and I will continue to say horrible, awful slurs like retard, the F slur. I will tell people to paint their ceiling with a 12 gauge, and that is how I do things in this space, because no one will ever stop me, you actual troglodyte retards.
do you want to plug your Discord?
Discord.gg/political shit show. Come join.
You got it. And with that, Key of Weird, who won on the opposing side?
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for staying relatively chill. I appreciate it. I'm gonna say that while I like Queen Alexa's energy at times, I'm gonna have to give it to Myopic. I think he did the best one.
All right. And before I
Stop
officially
the polls. This is rigged.
before I officially challenge Myopic to a one-on-one debate, I just want to ask you, as somebody who absolutely hates the vitriol and toxicity of Twitch poll, how do you think we did? Did you think you'd have to moderate more?
You guys did pretty well. You didn't act like a pack of fucking animals the entire time. But you smash a bunch of humans together into a room where you can't see half of them, and shit's gonna go down. It's just kind of how it goes on this little rock of ours. So it was not the worst in the world. I've seen panels go significantly worse.
Well, hell yeah. That's good. I'm glad. I did think that most of the time we could hear everybody. We got a little wild a couple times in Key of Weird. Unlike the vast majority of people in this space who moderate, was okay muting people, which was nice. I'm not good at that.
I have to. Yeah. Thanks for bringing
which
me
is
on.
why I had
Eldrazi.
him. Thank you, Queen Alexa. So Myopic, would you like to have this debate with me one-on-one later next week?
Sure.
Okay. Do you have if you don't know a time that works for you, you can get with me later. But if you have one on hand, I don't mind setting this up with you right now. Do you wanna? What?
Like around what time generally do you do these types of things?
I can do it whenever you want. When it comes to the winners of these panels, I'm going to be extremely amenable to the other person. Because this is your win. I think that it should be on your terms.
Are you busy on Friday?
So Friday, I was gonna say, is the only exception. Anytime that's prior to 6 p.m. on Friday, I can do. That is I did my first React stream that is scheduled. It's supposed to be scheduled on Fridays and it did very well. So I that one I want to try to stick to. If you want to do it after that, later in the evening, it looks like it's gonna go from like maybe a little bit before 6 to like around 10. So if you want to do it prior to 6 o'clock or after 10 o'clock, that's fine with me.
Let's say like 4 on Friday.
Okay, are you? I'm Eastern, by the way. That work?
It's currently 5:52 p.m. for me.
Okay, me too. Cool. All right, so 4 o'clock on Friday, we will have this conversation one-on-one. And I just Benny, you didn't want to add anything about any plans you have or anything like that? Or are you keeping? Do you want to say anything?
No, not for now.
Okay. All right, Benny, you're not a streamer. I really appreciate you coming on here. I have never not loved hearing you speak every time I've seen you on anybody's show. You pop in once in a while and you crush it. So I really appreciate, since you're not like, this isn't like a thing that you do, you coming on here to help me out. And I'm really glad that I picked you. I really enjoyed a lot of your arguments.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you everybody for being here. Thank you everybody for watching. Not all of these will be YouTube exclusive. This one just kind of had to be. This is going to be something I'm trying to put together as often as I can. I'm shooting for weekly, but depending on the subject, it might take a little extra time to get people together. This was very hard to get people on the opposition for. Everybody was like, no, I'm cool with using it. So I actually meant to bring that up during this panel, is that one of my strongest points for it is that I couldn't find anybody to go against it. It was insanely difficult. I even had to get Queen Alexa, who actually loves using it, to go against it, because it was so hard to find people who feel strongly enough against it to come and debate it. But again, thank you everybody very much for coming. And I'm going to be streaming later tonight. I'm probably going to go over Wick's panel because I didn't get to see it. And if I'm going to watch it, why not fucking stream that shit? All right. Have a good day. And Jenny and Benny, I hope I see you guys argue in the Discord. I'd love to see your guys' discourse on this. Have a good night.
See you guys.
Peace out.
Bye.
All right, that's it. And wow, cool. My dogs waited until the panel was over to bark. I appreciate them for that. You guys did really good. I'd say later on in the evening, I'm going to what the fuck is going on here? Let me get this shit out of here. Is that it? No, that's not it. Where are we at? There it is, Discord. Ah, I forgot. I put myself where I was. Yeah, I'm gonna be back some amount of time later on in the evening. I'll shoot out a tweet beforehand, and I'm gonna go over Wick's panel, see how everybody did. I know that Sunday left. I'm really excited to see what made him leave. I just assumed that somebody said you're wrong and here's why, and he was like, "Fuck, I gotta go." So I'm really excited to see that. Have a good night. Thanks for showing up. Like I said, I will try to dual stream these in the future, but this would have been flagged like fucking that. There's no chance. Thankfully, YouTube is pretty chill. So I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you very much for showing up. And I see that we have. Oh yeah, I just want to say too, I have my YouTube subscriptions have more than doubled in the last like 36 hours. I really appreciate every single person that over 200 of you that subbed to me in the last day and a half. I greatly appreciate you, and everybody who's been subbed for a long time, I appreciate you as well. It's been a really cool burst of growth, and I plan on keeping the streams regular, and I'm going to try to continue to put out better and better stuff as I go. I have a lot of stuff to learn, and I have a lot of stuff to get better at, but I'm glad things are going the way they